bass.
Hey, Funketeers, Bootsy here to bring the Truth and Rhythm family's attention to Funk Not Fight. Yeah, this is a call to action. We spread hope, not hate, to gain satisfaction throughout our communities via the music uplifting unity. Peppermint Patty, tell us a little more.
Thinker is our partner. Thinker Music, that is. So please check the link that's scrolling across the bottom, click it, and submit your music.
Let's all funk, not fight.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
Did you ever feel like you were struggling to find a balance between what you guys want to do creatively and what you thought might sell best or what the label was pushing you to do?
Like I said before, I think we got a little bit more control, or we were asking for more control after the Restless record. I think that's kind of where we started pushing more of what we wanted. I was getting ready to say, like, the album Hot to the Touch, not just Ernesto, but George wanted to produce some things. I think he produced a couple of songs on that record. I think Say You Will's on that record, which George wrote, and there's a video of that. So we started to, try to get more influence on production. I know Ernesto was pushing for that a lot, as far as not having a producer, but producing his own stuff.
Yeah, we definitely did. We wanted to, after the album with Keith Diamond, we wanted to do another one with Keith Diamond because it was so successful, and he was really very talented. Keith Diamond was, and then beyond that, I don't know. For me personally, I just like playing. I didn't worry about whatever the guys want to do. That's fine. I just want to play. So I didn't get too much involved in that. I did get involved when he was talking about getting new production, but outside of that, once we weren't in charge, once I wasn't in charge, I'd go with whatever happens.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Oh, that's part of the reason why a lot of it worked, because you can't. There would be a lot more infighting if you didn't go with it, and I don't think that the success that we did have was partly because of that, because we would get along. We'd find a way to get along to make things happen. Even though there were some struggles, it eventually ended up in some good results, I think.
Well, he wants my body. I always thought was just a great follow-up to Object. It wasn't repeating it and rehashing it, but it was, sort of a logical next single hit after that to me.
Yeah, that was a next album, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was similar to Object in some ways. You're right, and it was a good segue I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And DYBO, pretty
Mm.
funky. Definitely some Prince influence, I think, on that one too.
Yeah, Ernesto wrote that, and I remember when he was coming up with that song in the studio. Not, he used to always be in the studio kind of by himself, put songs together. And I remember hearing him with that song, and I was like, man, that's jamming. And so
Well,
when that made it to the record, I was so
the
pleased.
instruments that were chosen, you're right. They were like the kind of keyboards that Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of.
And you can, and if you listen to it, there's a lot of jazz kind of influence in a lot of those tunes. I mean, you can hear as far as melody and stuff, and a little rock in there. I mean, that's kind of like a guitar. Um, it was just great stuff.
And like you said later on, you mentioned hip hop influence. To me, I saw it as like New Jack Swing kind of influence that came in for you guys with Hot to the Touch. And wasn't a single, I don't think, but Your Lover was a good one. I thought.
I just want to be your lover. That's all I'm
And who was
What album was that?
that was on Hot to the Touch. I mean, Hot to the Touch. And then
That had to have been what, our 9th album?
it was at number 9. And then we kind of kept that going. We got what's his name produced the
10th album was Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley. So that was all really hip hop. A lot of his influences on that one. Have you got what it takes? I want you, you want me. That was some great stuff. The sad thing was at that time, Renee had started to become a little ill. She had MS, and so performing live was difficult. And so that's kind of where things started to change in how we were going to handle the group. That was the last album we did. But she did end up doing a solo. Ernesto, I think, produced a solo record that went to Europe, but that was all studio. It's called Oasis.
Well,
Other than
so
that,
what did you two do after that last 1990 record?
well, both of us were always playing music. I was in a lot of bands. I went on to, as far as like on doing stuff on stage and somebody like in their business. I toured with Angela Bofield and Najee. I'm actually on a couple songs with Najee, the sax, flautist, jazz, smooth jazz, and Angela Bofield. But locally, we were in a group called Mamma Jamma, and we were in different bands. That's kind of what he does now. Orlando does now with the Caribbean field. Mamma Jamma was a Caribbean kind of feeling band. I was in a rock band with Paul Reed Smith. I mentioned him earlier. Before he got his guitars went big, he had a band called Band of 1,000 Names. And I was in that band for years with Carrie Ziegler and then David Glazer, who ended up touring with us. I think when Restless came out, I worked with him. He was a guitar player at a local band called David Glazer, Van Dyke and
Glazer.
So we were always playing outside of Starpoint, playing music because I love it so much, I guess.
Well, like he said, I the main band I played with after Starpoint was Mamma Jamma, and I played with them for 10 years. I eventually became the band leader and led that group.
Yeah,
and we were we were the Caribbean group for Maryland. I mean,
Yeah.
we were the group. And then I left them and started playing solo. And I've been playing solo ever since, you know, just doing solo gigs. Caribbean, I play steel drums, tenor sax, sing. I record tracks and I play and sing along with my tracks. And it's kept me busy. That's why we're sitting in the car, because I just finished
from
a gig,
the gig
today.
And me, I've always had like jazz bands because I love jazz so much. So I've had like, I don't know, 4 different bands that were predominantly jazz. The first one was Effort, which we did a lot of Return to Forever and Billy Cobham. And then I went on to another group that did sort of that, a lot of fusion, you know, 70s fusion stuff. And right now I have a couple of bands that are jazz. One of them is called Strings, and the other one is called Piano Strings. And I have another band called Climate, and we do a lot of weather reports kind of stuff. So just, you know, try to make it happen, keep the music going.
So what year approximately was the last Starpoint live performances?
We went to France in 2011 after Ernesto and Renee had already passed, but we went, Orlando, I, and George, you know, went Kai. We hired another singer, and we hired David Glazer, my friend, went play guitar with us. It was in France, at Lyon, France, and they had been kind of like, you were bugging me for years, and I was like, okay, let's put a show together. And we finally put a show together, and they sent the finances. And we went, we did one show in Lyon, France. I think that was the last.
That was the last show. But before that, the last show was probably, I don't even remember. It was 1990 or 89 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did any shows after the last album.
No, we didn't.
I don't recall.
We never shopped. We all shopped that record or performed with it because at that point, Renee was
her, and that was pretty bad.
Yep.
Wow. Well, just for the record, so viewers know, we lost Renee, I think, in 2005, and Ernesto 2004. Both very close together.
Yeah,
right.
And they were too close together. They were partners all through it. And when Ernesto died, Renee died almost to the day, a year later. And a lot of people said, you know, that's because of the love loss, but we don't know. But it almost to the date later, Renee passed.
Well, rest in peace for all the great music they both left us.
Absolutely.
Did you get a sense, you know, when you guys were in your prime, did Renee seem to favor more the ballads or more the up-tempo? Because you had such a good balance and mix of both.
I think probably the ballads more than anything. I would think. I don't know. I mean, you
really don't know what she preferred. That's a good question.
That's a good question. I would think
we
the
just,
ballads.
like most of us, she just loved it all. I mean,
well, I can say this: she definitely loved doing the ballads and the duos with my brother. That was for sure. I mean, at least that's what it looked like to me. You know, they would do, like, what was it? All night, not all night long. What was that one? There was a ballad that they did together. That was big in the show. I can't remember the name of the song.
It's funny. I keep thinking of Till the End of Time, but that's the one she sang with George.
Yeah.
The other one was golly, I have to think of it later. But yeah.
Yeah, she enjoyed the ballads with my brother Ernesto.
Am I Still the One?
Am I Still the One was the
That's what it was. But
That was a big song in the show too.
yeah,
They did a performance. They had some choreography that was just out of this world.
the singing was incredible.
And singing was absolutely incredible.
What's each of your favorite one or two Starpoint tracks and why? Why don't you go first, Orlando?
My favorite song is All Night Long because I don't know, it just moved me the most. It moved me the most when Renee hits that when it's gonna be all right. It's that I know.
That I know. Yeah.
That's who boy, that just melts my heart right there.
He's playing a serious bass line on that song too.
And I enjoyed playing it on the bass as well.
And you had a bass solo on that thing.
Well, in live,
Live,
I would do a solo on that song, but yeah. But I love playing bass on it, and it's just that's the song to me. That's the number one song we ever did to me, for me, All Night Long, and that was played a lot when that album came out on the radio.
I kind of have more relate to the live stuff because some of the recordings were, I didn't play on it. They were programmed drums. But live, I was always playing. So It's All Yours was one of my favorite to play on. And that was kind of because I had been watching this really good drummer, can't think of his name, but he was Luther Vandross drummer, and his pocket was just incredible. So I would kind of put that in the way we played live, because we were doing so many shows with them. But It's All Yours probably, and Restless. In the early days, it might have been like I Just Want to Dance with You or something like that. But I think when I had the most fun in listening to and playing was It's All Yours and Restless. My two favorites.
It's All Yours. It's All Yours reminded me a little bit of Love Come Down, if you remember that song.
Love Come Down, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the pockets are kind of the same.
Evelyn King too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And what about like a Miss Gem you feel is in the catalog? Because you guys did must be around 100 songs, but is there like one in there that you thought people kind of missed or the label missed that you think?
There's a bunch, really.
Well, maybe name one or two that people watching this will say, wait a minute, I don't really remember that. I'm going to go back and give it a listen again.
There's just a lot of songs that I thought could be, I think Wanting You was a single.
Well, that was a single.
That was a single, but
well, I guess was It's So Delicious? Was that a single?
I don't know,
but that was jamming song.
It was, yeah, it's a funky track, but it only got to 79, so it didn't really get that much love.
Right. I'm trying to think what else.
The earlier tunes, I think, like the Angel really nice. That was great.
You are an angel.
Great vocals, harmonies. Angel was Ernesto wrote that too.
That's a really nice. I call it like a dreamy, quality to it. Yeah.
Great song. I think this didn't that duo or do Renee sing that?
That's Renee.
Renee sang that.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Ernesto might have sang on that too, I think. Angel.
Yeah.
And then there was a jamming one. I can't think what it was. Bum, 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 bum. No. What's that song?
That's when that sounds like welcome down. Actually, but
I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah, I have to.
Anyway, yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, there a lot of it. I mean, I think the ones that we really, at least for me, related to were ones that when we played live, they had a certain kind of vibe. You know, really cool to play live. And that one you were mentioning, that was
One
on
More
one.
Night was nice. Ooh, baby's gonna be all right. That one, that was on the
Yep.
Restless album, I think.
Mm-hmm.
One More Night.
Right.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
nice
Keith
song.
Keith Diamond wrote that.
That was a nice song. There's, like you said, there's probably
There's-
several that could be.
Well,
really
One More Night's a good one to go back. That wasn't a single, so. And even
Right.
All Night Long that you mentioned, Orlando, that only got to
Right.
69. So,
Yeah.
some people might not have remembered that one either. They should go back and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd say check out all the albums.
Yep. I mean, you're gonna have there's what two there's the new box set, and then there is another release of like all the older the first couple of albums. I think there's
And if you like another style, the one I wrote called Emotions.
yep. I love that song. Whoa,
That's Ernesto singing lead on that.
that could be
Man,
that should have been a single. I think.
Oh, yeah, on Restless
the thing is,
also. Yeah.
the reason it wouldn't be because it wasn't Renee singing lead, So
Right.
they all the singles were pretty much
But Ernesto,
either duet or Renee. So
yeah, Ernesto was singing lead on that. That's an
Yeah.
incredible tune. That Orlando wrote and Ernesto was singing. So,
I mostly wrote, for guys. Being a guy, I don't know. I didn't know how to write for girls, but that's why the Shake It Out, that was me. Breakout. That didn't come out the way I planned it, but in the end, but the video is pretty corny.
I hate the video now.
Breakout was like robots or something.
Yeah. Human robots. They were acting like they were robots.
Right. So the idea was break out of this program thing and break out. That was but it's kind of corny. But anyway.
I didn't have that much writing, and a lot of the ones I did write in, you probably have to go to the earlier records. Starpoint Here Tonight.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And those usually were the ones that kind of were recreated when we were jamming.
Gonna do it.
Yeah, when we were jamming. Stuff
Yeah, that one was funky, right? I remember. Yeah.
Another influence was Funkadelic. That was
absolutely
another artist.
Oh, that was that was really one of our first. Before we became Starpoint, we opened for Funkadelic at Howard University, and I think I was like 16 years old. And the reason why I remember is because when we were performing, I think I was still doing solos then, and I don't forget who it was, but somebody lit my cymbals on fire while I was playing. I was like, whoa! I don't know if you remember that, but I'll never forget that.
Well, their drummer was Dennis Chambers.
No, that was it. He came later.
He was later.
Yeah, okay. He came later. But they lit my cymbals on fire. I was like, whoa! That was when the guy would wear the diaper.
Hey, Gary Scheider.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Like I said, I think I was probably like 16 years old. 16.
Oh, yeah, that's got to leave an impression on you. If you can do that, you can probably open and play with anybody, right?
Right.
Really? Yeah.
Did you get to meet George Clinton or no?
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah.
I met George Clinton again when I was touring with Najee because we were doing the those Tom Joyner cruises, and Funkadelic was on one of those big ship, the Tom Joyner cruises, and we played, and then after Najee played, I would go to the Funkadelic show because I knew some of those guys are from Baltimore, so I knew some of the musicians. And so after my show with Najee, I would go on the boat like this, like a coliseum. The boat, that thing was so huge. Yeah, but I would go see Funkadelic, and their night started at midnight, and they were done at 4 in the morning. After my show, which was done at like 11, I'd go there and hang out and go to their show. And that time, that was Dennis had already been in that band, and they would play all night. They had like 3 different drummers that they would interchange and never stop. I was like amazed because another drummer would come in at like an hour and a half later, and then keep the band going with another drum. It was I'd never seen anything like that. But yeah, I met George. I met him in the airport. I think I have a photograph of it on my website. Me and George. He's drinking a Pepsi at the airport. Yep.
A lot of those guys I know from Baltimore, like Dennis Chambers and Rodney Skeet Curtis and some of the horn players.
Yep.
And
Skeet's been to our house. When we were kids, he came to the house and jammed with us. And Dennis is a good friend of mine. Absolutely. And I've been to his house in Baltimore. When he got sick a little while ago, a couple of years ago, I went to see him. I know Dennis very well.
phenomenal player.
Yep. And we were in rival bands when we were kids. He was like the main drummer, and I was like we used to have battle of the bands and stuff. Me and Dennis.
Yep. Before our record.
Before the record deal.
Stuff, yeah.
Well, let me ask you if there's one performance show that Starpoint did that just really stands out, that is in your memory, whether it's like an amazing show or something funny happened, or maybe, there's a power failure, just something that stands out that you could maybe share.
Go ahead.
Well, the most memorable show to me was the one where we received our gold at Madison Square Garden.
I agree.
Because the audience, it was said, and I still believe that we got the biggest applause of the whole night between us, Ozzy's, and Luther. Nobody got the bigger applause at the end of the show than we did. That's what I believe. And the show was incredible. We performed. We were on point. We were so excited.
Yeah.
And, it was a sold out crowd at Madison Square Garden, 27 something thousand people. So that was incredible.
Also, it was I think the reason why we were presented those gold records, because it was the end of that tour. It was
also the end of the tour.
Also the end of the tour.
Now, on the flip side, you asked about something where something went wrong. First thing comes to my mind. We did a show in Texas. It was some little town in between. It wasn't Dallas. It wasn't Houston. It wasn't.
We were on a bus.
Some little town that starts with a K, I think. I don't know, but it's a little town.
And out or something.
We were supposed to play outside. Our tour buses were parked behind the stage. And we had a stage, and then in front of the stage was just some bleachers that all the fans were going to be at. And there was a power failure or something.
Something happened.
And the fans got mad, and they started throwing rocks and stuff. We had to get out of there. We had to get out of there. The show didn't happen.
The show didn't happen
because the promoter didn't have the money. It was like all kinds of crazy. And I think that's what it was. The promoter didn't have the money to pay for us to do the show. It wasn't just us. It was a couple other bands.
Other bands.
And so he didn't have the money. So we're like, well, we're not playing. We don't get paid. No cash, no music. And the fans started throwing rocks.
It was, that's probably the one. I remember that show. Oh,
yeah.
We had to get out of there.
There was only one like that I know
Yeah,
of
that's the only one though.
in our whole time. So, yeah,
How far into Starpoint's career was that?
good question.
That was before Restless.
Probably.
Yeah.
We had a tour bus, so I don't know when we started doing tour bus, because we started out with motorhomes. We started out with not even that. We had at one point we would drive a couple of vans and
we had motorhomes.
pull a trailer. Well, before that, we had. Remember when we drove? Might have been then because we drove.
It was
No,
then.
no,
It
we
wasn't
had a
then.
tour bus then. But I remember driving from Maryland to Texas, and because I remember going through Alabama and some southern states like that, and we were in a van, a regular old van, and we had a trailer pulling equipment.
But then we had a Winnebago.
But not at this point. And we were driving through Alabama, and we were, drinking beers and stuff, and we had the sliding door was open, the cops pulled us over. They're like, somebody said you're throwing beers, you're throwing bottles out. We don't have bottles, we only had cans. He had to let us go.
It was kind of
funny. But that reminds me, we used to travel in van. Sometimes we had a passenger van and a cargo van and a trailer at one point. Then we had motorhome. And then we had a motorhome.
Bigger motorhome.
And then we used to go to these concerts, and the bigger acts that we opened up for, they pull up in their tour buses and we pull up in our RV. Like embarrassing.
And then when we did get a tour bus, we had one, and everybody rode on that.
Yeah, we got a tour
bus, and everybody. And I remember breaking down one time. I don't know. The air conditioner went out, and stuff.
But then, like I said, after Restless, there was 2 tour buses, 2 nice ones.
First class.
Yeah. Then we showed up proud, this concert.
Did you
well,
guys
we were always proud. We just,
the vehicle I'm talking about. Yeah.
Did you ever play Europe or Japan or anything like that?
During no, we didn't. We never did leave the country. We went to Hawaii.
We did go to Hawaii. Yeah.
And that was crazy.
That was a great show.
We had a show in somewhere like LA first. I can't remember. But we went to Hawaii. We were literally there for a total of about 20 hours. We got there.
We were actually doing pretty good then.
We were busy. So we flew right back out of there.
A lot of gigs.
We flew in. We got in there in the afternoon, did a sound check, went to the hotel, came back, did the show, hung out with some local people that we met. And then the next morning we were on a flight right out of there. It was crazy.
Oh.
To Texas, and we had another show in Texas that night.
I remember because we were in California too, and the Hard Rock cafes were big then.
Yeah. So we would go do promotional appearances and stuff.
Of all the bills that you guys were on, was there anybody that just super impressed you with their performance and their stage show through the years?
For me, it was Luther Vandross.
Luther, I love the Isleys too.
The Isleys were excellent too. When it was the Isley brothers,
right?
That was incredible. Actually, the oldest Isley died while we were on tour. I almost got the drumming gig for that band. I'll never forget that because the drummer was stuck somewhere, and the show was about to go on, and somehow they got him there. I don't know, but. Isley Brothers was great, and Luther Vandross.
We had a thing. This was definitely before Restless. We had we were performing in Chicago area, the Pine Knob, I think it's called, theater, and we had like 5 shows scheduled, and they kept adding shows, and we ended up staying there for like a week and a half doing extra. And that was fun. There was a theater in the round. That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
It's like a residency.
Yeah, it was by demand. They kept selling shows, kept selling out. They kept adding more shows. we kept playing. Yeah. Us and the Isleys.
The Madison was in the round too. I'll never forget that. That was a great show at the Madison Square Garden. Going around. That's kind of freaky. Playing while the stage is moving, Yeah. But anyway.
You guys, how do you feel about looking back on the legacy? Do you feel like Starpoint gets enough, respect and credit and attention?
I think so. I think personally that we would have loved to have done better or had more of a success. But all in all, I think we did very well, and I think we're still very well respected in the local area and in a lot of places. It's still good. I mean, I do.
The people that know us, love us. We didn't get as big as the biggest artists. I mean, the ones that you remember, the people who still remember. I mean, we're not the Jackson 5. We're not there are even groups like Cameo who were closer to them, but they're even a little more known than we are. You know what I'm saying? So, but, the people that know us loved us. And so what else can you ask for?
A lot of people know us, and our thing is transferred more in Europe. Right now, we're kind of hot in Europe. That's kind of the release that's coming out now. The 6 CD set thing that's released in Europe.
Yeah, the UK, right? I think. Yeah. So, is there anything about the Starpoint story we didn't cover that you want to share with the fans?
Not really. I mean, speaking for, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm real pleased about the what we did do. And like I said, I wish that it reached a higher, something bigger. But for what we did, I think it did very well. We wish it would have lasted longer. I mean, while we were younger. But there's still groups that are out performing, so it's not like, at least in my view, it's not like it's all over. Our last show was in 2011, but it just depends on a lot of variables with people, passing away and stuff. It would take a lot, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, and it is something that hasn't left my mind as far as us trying to do something as Starpoint again, but can't promise that's going to happen. But
we'll see.
But we haven't. But it's there. The desire is there, definitely.
Yep.
Well, we would sure love that. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug in terms of what you're doing now, a website and things like that?
Well, I will say my website's orlandophillips.com. Mostly what I do is fairly local, local stuff. And I have some originals. I have a CD that I did on my own and called Rasta American. And hey, check me out. It's a lot of fun. That's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah.
For me, my website is gregphillipsproductions.com. I actually do take the reason why it's a lot of times we get contacted, I think even you, is because I also put together a website for starpointmusic.com. And so if you go to gregphillipsproductions.com, that's on there. And a lot of the stuff that I do, all my personal stuff's on there, my schedule with the local stuff. Sometimes Orlando and I are playing together, so that's on there. So gregphillipsproductions.com and starpointmusic.com.
And then there's the social media, which, I'm not big on that stuff, but, got a Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. And all the Starpoint social media stuff, I do all of it. So
he does all that.
Facebook, Instagram.
Like I said, I'm mainly into just playing music. That's why I don't do much of that stuff. But
Yeah, but that's about it.
So, Greg, you kind of ran with it after Ernesto wasn't around in terms of being
Yeah,
the flag bearer for Starpoint.
absolutely. We were close when we were kids, and he kind of got me started on the drums, and I've always respected his opinion on music, and we used to jam together. You can imagine, like me and him, just him on guitar and me on drums. And we used to, when we were kids, we used to listen to the radio. When we slept, we would, go to bed and listen to jazz and all kinds of music when we were kids. So yeah, I've been trying to push that because I think I'm kind of more a little bit family orientated to pushing, especially Ernesto's. I give gratitude for him for the legacy, and because he pushed it so hard, I want to keep that going. So I get involved in all the social media, anything I can do to promote, especially when there's new stuff like that. See that box set coming out. I haven't put that on the website yet, but it will be on there.
All right. Well,
so in closing, I'd like to say, most people that are probably watching this are somewhat into Starpoint or interested about us or curious. And I strongly encourage you to listen to the stuff we've done. I think it's some of the best stuff ever done. And check it out. And hey, and if you want to see what I'm doing now, you're welcome to do that as well. But
his website is posted on my site and also I think Starpoint. So
yeah, I gotta say, Greg, your site is pretty comprehensive. It's a good hub for all that you guys have done and are doing.
Some things that still need to be fixed, but I work on it all the time.
All right, Orlando and Greg, thank you so much. And on behalf of all the viewers, thank you for all the great music through the years. It's added so much to so many lives. So bless you and thank you for all that.
All right. Well, thanks for your interest in us as well.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.